Tonight, new evidence migrants who cross the border illegally are still being released into the U.S. by border agents.
It's a new category. I don't know if you've heard this, but I came up with this one, migrant crime. There's crime, there's violent crime, there's migrant crime. We have a new category of crime. It's called migrant crime, and it's going to be worse than any other form of crime.
Ibarra, a Venezuelan national, had illegally entered the U.S. last week. Police arrested him for the murder of Laken Riley.
He used a weapon to seriously disfigure her skull.
We need immigrants in this country. Forget the fact that the farm, that our vegetables would rot in the ground if they weren't being picked by many immigrants, many illegal immigrants.
A new report from the FBI shows that there was a 13% decline in murder.
Despite what the data shows, which we've been talking about, the fact that crime is going down in most places is not registering with the public.
Why should we believe the FBI? The FBI's been cooking the books. Did you know about half the country doesn't send their crime statistics to the FBI? Murders are actually up.
This is America's border czar, and she's failed us. Under Harris, over 10 million illegally here. 250,000 Americans dead from fentanyl. Brutal migrant crimes. And ISIS now here.
There's blood on Kamala Harris's hands. She's the border czar. She doesn't care. And I mean, the height of the woman to go down to the border and start blaming Donald Trump for the crisis that she's created. If she has 4 more months as vice president, she could fix this tomorrow.
We have millions and millions of people here. It is not sustainable. So we're going to have the largest deportation in the history of our country. We have no choice.
Everything has to be Trump. Everything. I have a 7-step plan for Biden's reelection, and you can memorize them because I did them in alphabetical order. Attack, 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 attack.
The Biden campaign hoping the speeches and new ads draw a starker contrast with Trump. Aides telling CNN Biden may go full Hitler.
Is Biden smart to go this hard at Trump, to go, quote, full Hitler in the first week in January? It's really early to be doing this.
Some would argue it's a little late.
The issues that the court had to deal with today were momentous.
Well, Donald Trump endured the worst day of his life as a criminal defendant today.
I'm going to say the White House has been calling the shots on every one of these things. In New York with Alvin Bragg and Letitia James. In Colorado to keep Trump off the ballot. In Maine to keep Trump off the ballot. In other words, I think there is a conspiracy here where the Biden White House is calling the shots in the legal war against Donald Trump. Period. End of sentence.
Witch hunt. It's election interference at the highest level. It's a disgrace. It's all a conspiracy to try and get Biden, who can't put 2 sentences together, trying to get him into office. It's so unfair what's happening in our country. Our court system is a mess.
We turn now to Iowa, where 2 weeks from today, Iowans will gather at schools, libraries, and other locations across the state to cast the first ballots in this year's presidential election.
I think President Trump was the right president at the right time. I agree with a lot of his policies, but rightly or wrongly, chaos follows him. We can't go through another nail biter of an election. We can't.
And it's clear to me tonight that there isn't a path for me to win the nomination, which is why I'm suspending my campaign tonight for President of the United States. I know, and I can see it from some of the faces here, that I'm disappointing some people by doing this.
Donald Trump should be on this stage. He owes it to you here in Iowa. I've shown up to all 99 counties because it's important.
The weather could also have an effect on the Iowa caucuses, which are just 3 days away.
Heavy snow fell as candidates tried to make their case to caucus goers. Temperatures are expected to be in the negative double digits in Iowa on Monday night.
Candidates bracing for the coldest caucus potentially on record. So whose voters are most determined to come out could make all the difference.
You know, this is a question where weather has suddenly become the entire ballgame. It should be a real advantage to Ron DeSantis. The weather drops unexpectedly. Are you going to get your people out, right? So in theory, this is all actually, I think, setting up really well right now
for Ron DeSantis.
And tonight, former President Donald Trump has been declared the winner in Iowa. He has maintained a significant lead in the polls.
They said you'll never get over 50, and I just left and we're at 54. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with it, but they said you can't do that, sir.
There is a cost to us as a news organization of knowingly broadcasting untrue things. That is a fundamental truth of our business and who we are. And so his remarks tonight will not air here live.
I am today suspending my campaign. I'm proud to have delivered on 100% of my promises, and I will not stop now.
The Fulton County, Georgia District Attorney, Fani Willis, has been accused of appointing her lover as a special prosecutor in the case against Donald Trump. DA Fani Willis is responsible for taking Trump's mugshot, and Fani isn't even denying that she's hired a guy she's sleeping with to prosecute Trump.
This is total corruption. That's what you got going here. Total corruption. Nathan Wade, thank you very much. The boyfriend. He met several times and got paid for the meetings with, wait for it, White House, Biden White House advisors.
And it just came out, this was just right now, Letitia James visited Joe Biden in the White House numerous times.
Not once, not twice, 3 times.
This is not normal. I cannot understand why she would have cause in the middle of a trial to go see the White House and the Biden administration. I can't believe what I am seeing.
Donald Trump and the staggering fine. A judge in New York fining Trump $355 million in his civil fraud case for exaggerating the value of his properties.
Donald Trump may have authored the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal.
Why did you show up today?
Mr. Biden, did you show up to testify?
Why did you show up today? Why did you put your dad on speakerphone if he had nothing to do with your business? You put him on speakerphone multiple times to talk to your business partners.
Republicans are in search of direct evidence so far that has eluded them that the president was involved in Hunter's foreign business dealings.
Nobody can tell us what is the high crime or misdemeanor.
I want to be very clear. That first hour of this much anticipated testimony was the nail in the coffin to what is a complete bogus and sham impeachment inquiry.
The jury has found Hunter Biden, the president's son, guilty on all 3 counts.
What is the big picture here? It's not a drug addict who possessed a gun for 2 weeks. It is that you have a president of the United States who is living embodiment of the rule of law.
Our nation is really seeing a massive decline in faith in institutions, including the justice system.
Let's also remember why we get to lawfare. We get to lawfare when one party loses elections. They instead try to sideline or get rid of the opposition by using other means, in particular lawfare.
A historic conviction. A jury finds former President Donald Trump guilty on all 34 felony counts in his hush money trial.
The first former president of the United States convicted on criminal charges.
Guilty.
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 It's unanimous on all counts.
The former president, now a convicted felon.
Convicted felon.
Convicted felon.
And that's powerful. This is lunacy. Any red-blooded American who sees this is going to understand this isn't what we do to our political enemies. God help America after what I've seen in the last few weeks.
The question going forward, and pollsters are likely going to ask this right away, is does this conviction change any of the minds of those who have said they would vote for Donald Trump?
If you just take 3 steps back, the fact that they're putting people in prison, men in their 70s, you and Navarro, but others, lots of others, people in prison for defying them politically, that is not the country that we grew up in.
It's so bad, it's making our justice system look so bad, but we raised more money than, I think we did $58 million almost immediately after the verdict came out.
Trump has raised a staggering $52.8 million.
It has been a big backfire, like the exploding cigar, like Wile E. Coyote chasing Roadrunner. Donald Trump, I think, is in the strongest position he's ever been in because people in this country aren't as stupid as the Democrats must think they are.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. If it weren't the truth, I wouldn't say it. I think he's better than he's ever been.
President Biden has a photographic memory. His understanding and mastery of a complicated geopolitical situation is remarkable.
He is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
Any concerns from anyone who has met with President Biden about him seeming a little slower?
No. This is the entire election as far as I'm concerned. If Biden goes out there and messes up, it's game over.
Great to be here. Thank you. But here's the deal: there's a lot of young women are being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters. It's just ridiculous. And in addition to that, we find that the impact on the choice, able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare, what I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts. And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do?
Right now, as we speak, there is a deep, a wide, and a very aggressive panic in the Democratic Party.
That was painful. He didn't do well at all.
So there has to be a conversation with the president after tonight, right? Some of those conversations will be from people who say, sir, you should step aside.
I have never seen numbers this bad for an incumbent president during my lifetime.
I would argue that President Obama is among the leaders saying, get him out. I think him putting his hand on his back the other day, walking him off stage, spoke volumes. That's my opinion. I think President Obama is trying to get him to understand he cannot win this.
Is lawfare, even the conviction of Trump, working now against Biden?
I sure think so. Today, the Supreme Court's conservative majority upended the way our federal government functions by overturning the 40-year-old landmark decision, Chevron v. NRDC.
Well, this case is a huge victory for the American people and constitutional government and the rule of law. It's a huge blow to the administrative state in Washington, D.C.
For Trump, what a day. I mean, his nominees put the court over the top.
The court also raised the bar for obstruction charges for hundreds of January 6th rioters.
The ruling means prosecutors may have overreached when they charged several hundred January 6 defendants, including former President Donald Trump.
Now, the justices will return to the bench on Monday to hand down the last decisions of the term.
The big question of tomorrow morning, what will the court rule?
I see zero chance they're going to embrace Donald Trump's argument that he has absolute immunity and can't be prosecuted.
Breaking news from the Supreme Court, where the justices have just ruled on whether former President Donald Trump has absolute or qualified immunity.
This is a 6-3 ruling written by the Chief Justice that says flatly presidents are immune, absolutely immune for their official acts.
Whoa, are they going to do this?
I really did not expect that they would do this.
Here we are now where he's characterizing this as a win.
Big win for our Constitution and democracy. Proud to be an American.
There is a lot of optimism that he can now proceed without having the Supreme Court and these federal trials over his shoulder.
This case will not go before the election. It will not be tried before the election. 0% chance that happens before November.
The court's 3 liberals seemed stunned and outraged.
I worry that voters will not fully comprehend
what the Supreme Court just handed Donald Trump.
Did the court just say, yeah, you can assassinate a political rival?
He cannot be the next president.
You can't imagine the things that he's going to do. He will make himself into the Fuhrer, and he will make everybody raise their hand and salute him.
We're going to see violence, the likes of which we didn't even see on January 6th.
Every one of us, our freedom, our liberty, none of us is safe.
It's going to have people around him executing against an enemy's list.
Assassinate generals,
ordering troops to attack American citizens. Trump's very well-armed and extremist base will try to kill people.
He will unravel the institutions of our democracy.
I think that could be the end of our democracy.
But democracy is dead if Trump is reelected.
Democracy will be at risk. Vote for Donald Trump may mean the last election that you ever get to vote in.
He has to be eliminated.
Take a look at what happened.
Let me get my shoes. I got you, sir. I got you. Let me get my shoes. Hold on, your head is bloody. So we gotta move to the bus. Let me get my shoes. Watch out.
It is a miracle that Donald Trump is alive.
I think it was a miracle that Donald Trump was not struck.
Donald Trump is survived by a miracle.
Nothing short of a miracle.
It seems like everything has aligned in the period of like 3 days to make it very obvious Donald Trump's going to be the next president. There's no doubt about it at this point. Not only did he survive an assassination attempt, he stood up without knowing whether there were other shooters there. He stood up and faced the crowd and raised his hand and said, fight, fight, fight. That's it. You do that, you win.
I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here. I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God.
What's happened over the past month? Since the debate? And particularly on Saturday in Butler? I think a lot of people are wondering, what is this? This doesn't look like politics. Something bigger is going on here. I think even people who don't believe in God are beginning to think, well, maybe there's something to this. Actually. And I'm starting to think it's going to be okay.
So Mark Zuckerberg called me. First of all, he called me a few times. He called me after the event and he said that was really amazing. It was very brave. And he actually announced he's not going to support a Democrat because he can't, because he respected me for what I did that day.
I've done some stuff personally in the past. I'm not planning on doing that this time. And that includes, not endorsing either of the candidates. Seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most bad things I've ever seen in my life.
So Elon called me. As you know, he endorsed me full-throated. Great endorsement. I respect Elon a lot. He respects me.
I mean, the assassination attempt, your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. Instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying, fight, fight, fight. And I think that's the president of the United States represents America.
This kind of moment has the ability, if he can seize it, to reach out to those voters who may otherwise not have been inclined to him before.
How many of you know a black man who has expressed to you that they're committed to voting for Donald Trump?
Trump is leading here, and Trump is leading here. Trump is leading here.
Look, I mean, if the Lord Almighty came out and said, Joe, get out of the race, I get out of the race, the Lord Almighty's not coming down.
Fox News alert, President Joe Biden's announcing he's dropping out of the race. God must have spoken because he said the only thing that was going to make him bow out was the great Almighty.
We are here today to throw our support behind Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm clapping. You don't have to. It's a happy day. What can I say?
I know Kamala like few do. So let me just say this clear. It's about to get real.
She's mainstream America. She's the hope. She's the opportunity. She's the American dream. I just think we are in a very good position.
It's remarkable. We're in uncharted waters because I've never seen anything like this, and it happened so quickly.
This could be bigger than 08.
And I think that the vice president's launch has been spectacular.
Her favorability rating among all Americans up 8 points in just 1 week.
And is the most qualified individual to run for president. In fact, more qualified than the last 4 presidents.
So yeah, Kamala Harris in so many ways might just be the right candidate at the right time. The right candidate for this century, by the way.
Oh, tonight's rally is the top of the heap.
I think Trump world's jealous of the joy right now.
There is joy and there's not a lot of thinking. It's a good time.
Let us write the next great chapter in the most extraordinary story ever told. Thank you.
You're going to remember where you were on this night. This is an inflection point in history.
A startling development in the 2024 presidential race, the son of Democratic icon Robert Kennedy suspending his independent campaign and endorsing Republican nominee Donald Trump.
So, Bobby, please say a few words. Thank you very much.
Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
And as we've seen throughout this election year, former enemies quickly change their allegiances when they drop out.
Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi, please.
Meanwhile, we haven't seen Kamala since Thursday night. She's now pulling a Biden and going AWOL for debate prep. 4 days straight of debate prep. The last time a Democrat over-prepared for a debate, they got knocked out with one punch.
Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump.
Kamala Harris. What's up? Good debate.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Welcome to you both. It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have you both here tonight.
She's saying she can fix the problems that her administration has caused, but I just don't know if I can afford to take that risk.
She is the worst polling Democrat against Donald Trump in history on national polls. No one is performing worse than her. She is not doing well.
People don't really know what her policies are all about.
The left continues to be fooled into thinking attacking Trump means they're winning. He's been impeached, raided, arrested, shot, insulted for 90 minutes. So why isn't Kamala Harris winning?
An investigation underway after the second assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. He was golfing at the Trump International Golf Course in West Palm Beach yesterday when a gunman was spotted. Trump was not harmed and was quickly removed from the golf course.
The suspect, take a look, Ryan Routh, is being charged with 2 counts of being a felon in possession of a firearm.
How many more assassination attempts on Donald Trump until the president and the vice president and you pick a different word to describe Trump other than threat?
Donald Trump, if he loses, faces life behind bars. If he wins, faces more killers gunning for his life. The only choice he can make now is to fight, fight, fight.
Thank you very much, really, and thank you, a very big thank you to Pennsylvania. We love Pennsylvania. And as I was saying, I love that chart. Come on up here, Elon. Come here. Take over, Elon. Just take over.
I think this election, I think it's the most important election of our lifetime. President Trump must win to preserve the Constitution. He must win to preserve democracy in America.
What's the first word that pops into your head when you hear the name Kamala Harris?
Liar.
Why should we trust you?
So, I'll say this. Look, you can look at my career to know what I care about.
It is time to turn the page.
Former President Donald Trump put on an apron today to pull off a political stunt.
Mr. President, you actually have worked at McDonald's now versus...
Now I have worked at McDonald's. I've now worked for 15 minutes more than Kamala.
Why would she lie about that?
Why? Because she's lying, Kamala, that's why.
So we've got 2 weeks to go. And I'm very much grounded in the present in terms of the task at hand, and we will deal with election night and the days after as they come, and we have the resources and the expertise and the focus on that as well.
She was introduced by former President Barack Obama, marking the first time they have campaigned together.
Having them side by side like this is certainly a Kodak moment for a lot of people right now.
Kamala wasn't born into privilege. She was raised in a middle-class family. She worked at McDonald's when she was in college to pay her expenses. She didn't pretend to work at McDonald's when it was closed for a photo op.
Donald Trump is set to record an interview with podcasting giant Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan confirmed that Donald Trump will be joining him in his Austin studio, posting it on social media.
The reach that Rogan has is incredible.
This will be the biggest podcast of the last 100 years, the biggest podcast of all time.
All right, we're rolling. Good to see you, sir. There we go.
We begin tonight with the race for the White House, just 9 days until Election Day. Former President Trump drawing a massive crowd for a rally at New York's Madison Square Garden.
Donald Trump's going to win. He's going to win. The future is going to be amazing.
How close is this thing going to be?
This election should not be close. It should be clear.
I got to ask myself, well, why on earth is this race even close? What in the world is going on?
President Biden makes comments about Trump supporters, calling them, quote, garbage.
Joe Biden's garbage gas.
A political headache for Vice President Kamala Harris.
It has completely changed the narrative from where it was 24 hours ago.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
Trump's peeking out of a window of a garbage truck just a week after he peeked out of a McDonald's drive-through window. You're looking at a political athlete. It's less than 24 hours. Now, Kamala spent millions of dollars producing that speech last night at the Ellipse, and no one remembers it. No one's talking about it.
The reality is, of course, Biden's team trying very hard to clean this up. I think they recognize the damage that has been done.
Biden, who doesn't even know what Zoom is, just derailed Kamala's campaign.
He has undercut her over and over.
Former President Trump picking up a last-minute endorsement from Joe Rogan.
Well, I'll say it again, man. I think this is the last election. If Trump doesn't win, this is the last election.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Listen to this. So Jen O'Malley Dillon, I quoted from it earlier, but at the end of this email, she says, get some sleep and get ready to close out strong tomorrow. So essentially you're saying, you know what, let's pack up and get some sleep and we'll see you in the morning.
Reminds me of?
It's 4 years ago, Martha.
2016.
With what we're hearing here at the White House, and that is nothing. And we've been noticing that a lot of lights that were on within the White House, at least from the part that we can see, have been turning off.
Within the crowd right now, it's pretty silent. A lot of glum looks on the faces here described as that of a funeral right now.
So you won't hear from the vice president tonight, but you will hear from her tomorrow.
You can probably see behind me the rush to the exits. I mean, as soon as he said that, people turned on their heels and they were out of here. The evening was getting increasingly somber as people realized what this map is looking like.
We are now projecting that Donald J. Trump will win the state of Pennsylvania. Former President Donald J. Trump will win the state of Pennsylvania, and thereby he is on his way to becoming the 47th president of the United States. With this, the path for Vice President Harris has narrowed, and there's really no path going forward. It's vanished. This is historic. The Fox News Decision Desk can now officially project that Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
The former president's comeback will be complete with a win in Wisconsin, a state that he narrowly lost 4 years ago. He is now the second president in U.S. history to win non-consecutive terms.
Donald Trump returns to the White House, the president-elect pulling off potentially the biggest political comeback in American history.
Unlike any in modern American politics.
An historic political realignment.
Unlike anything we have ever seen.
Trump sweeping all 7 battleground states, lifting his total number of electoral college votes to 312.
He also made significant gains in some of the most democratic places in the country.
I think it is really more akin to a political resurrection.
It is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
The influences of a Schumer or a Pelosi or a movie star or an Obama deciding to anoint somebody, those guys are gone.
Former President Donald Trump fought off a host of allegations and slurs, a criminal conviction on dozens of felony counts and 2 impeachments, 2 assassination attempts as well to reclaim the White House.
This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again. Oh.
Trump's been president-elect for 3 days, and the country already looks different. New York City saying no mas to free food for illegals. The caravans in Mexico are breaking up. Toyota is saying they're going to invest more in gas-powered cars. Europe wants to buy energy from the United States instead of Russia. Qatar is kicking Hamas out. The Dow hitting an all-time high. Jack Smith dropping his case. And Soros-funded DAs are packing their bags. Iran has done a 180. The mullahs are saying, President Trump, sorry we tried to kill you. Let's make peace. Reports say CNN's going to be axing top stars and making others take pay cuts. Chris Wallace just resigned from CNN out of the blue. Comcast has been thinking of spinning off and selling MSNBC. Every Democrat's trying to wipe away any fingerprints they've left on this campaign. The Obamas are coming out and saying it wasn't our idea to put Kamala in. We wanted a primary. RFK Jr.'s got a mandate to make America healthy again. Rockets are heading to Mars. Government agencies are about to get gutted, and the deep state's lost its juice. America's healing.
The campaign of Harris Walsh raised over $1 billion, but somehow, despite, I believe, having $160 million still in the bank on October 20th, ends the campaign $20 million in debt.
President Biden has made a decision to pardon his son Hunter ahead of the transfer of power to President-elect Donald Trump.
He's received a sweeping pardon. Any uncharged crimes between 2014 and 2024.
Joe Biden is leaving office making the strongest possible case for Donald Trump that anybody could possibly make it, and that's that our government and our justice system is of, by, and for the elites and nobody else.
President Trump, this year, Times editors recognized you again as the 2024 Person of the Year for remaking American politics, and in doing so, reordering the world as we know it.
You can see, as we've said, why a lot of people in America will take this dramatic, earth-shaking change. It'll make them complacent. It'll make them think that all the problems are ended, that we have nothing to worry about on this road ahead. Satan's just going to transfer his attention and focus over to Europe and see how he can bring down the nations of Israel through a strong man there. Satan is hard at work to carry out his plan of destruction and desolation. Oh yes. So we don't want to look at the Trump resurgence as the sign that, well, God is very well pleased with us now. He's pleased with America. No, God, in fact, is trying to get us to look at ourselves, to look at our sins. And that's what these earth-shaking, fulfilled prophecies should be doing, motivating us to look at ourselves, to look within, to look at our hearts, to look at our attitudes, to consider our ways, and to turn to God.